Happy Sunday, my friends. Today I have sunflower and bees DIYs for you. So without further ado, let's jump into our first inspiration. I'll be using this blank wood round from the Dollar Tree, some black and white folk art paint, and those are the base colors. I got this stencil from Temu last year and we'll be using that. But I wanted to separate the board in terms of painting, so I took my pencil and I'm just indicating where I needed to start painting the black and the white. So I took a piece of painter's tape and I'm using that as my guide to separate the board. The black is going to be at the bottom and the white at the top. So there I'm just kind of lining it up again just to make sure I was on the line before I started painting. And there I'm indicating how that will be done. This is a smooth base coat brush that I got from PLAID, and I think I'm gonna love this brush. As a PLAID ambassador, you can redeem points and get perks and select the products that you want, and this was one of them that I chose. I am a PLAID ambassador. If you'd like to purchase from their website, use my code which is in my description box for 15% of your purchase. So I'm using that, and it actually flows quite smoothly over the surface. This paint was a little too thick, so I had to like wet the brush a little bit. And then after that dried, I now lift up the tape and I'm placing that on the white section. And I'm going to do the same with the black section. I did rinse out the brush because I wanted to use the same brush. So I rinsed that out and now I'm painting in the black. And I only needed that small amount that you saw me put down because the paint is pigmented and it's very thick. And like I said, the brush really did help to spread it easily. Now after that dried, I lifted up the tape and then placed my stencil down. I needed to keep the board in place and the stencil on the board. So I just used the same painter's tape that I used to paint it. And because of how I had put the tape down when I was painting the white section, a little part of it wasn't painted properly. So now I'm just taking this little marker from Dollar Tree and just painted that in. And now I'm ready to stencil again. But before I stenciled, I used some Mod Podge to just go over the stencil, and that helps to prevent the paint from bleeding. And this is especially important because this stencil has a lot of little moving parts. Now I have apple barrel yellow and folk art daffodil. I wasn't sure which one would be as yellow as I wanted it. The daffodil is a little bit light, so I chose to go with the apple barrel yellow. So I took one of these finger dabber. I got these from Temu as well, and I'm using that to stencil on the paint. Not going too heavy, just making sure there was enough on the sponge to get on the board, but not too much where it would bleed through, because like I said, this stencil had a lot of very small parts, so it's easier for the paint to get under those parts if you have too much paint. Now after I did that, dried it, I wanted to give it a little distressing, so I took some of the black paint and just blended that in with the yellow on, and then used the stencil brush, and I'm just going over the top just to distress it a little because it was looking too yellow. Now I could actually use white, but I chose to use the black because the black I felt would give me a little bit more contrast. Next, I took the sponge dapper and the white paint and stenciled in the words "Hello Sunshine." And just like I did for the sunflower, I used my finger to just hold down some of the sections in place. So if you are returning to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy you decided to join me here today. On this channel, I do lots of budget-friendly DIYs, thrift flip, and a few Dollar Tree shopping hauls every now and then. I haven't done that in a while. But if you love what you see here, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe and hit that notification bell so you are notified whenever I upload new videos, and also like, share, and comment down below because I enjoy reading your comments. Now the two butterflies right there, I thought I would paint them in yellow. Now that was done. I dried it with the heat gun. I wanted to make sure that it was dried completely. I didn't like how they look, so I took some of the black paint and painted them out. The sunshine was looking a little too pale, so I took the same paint pen that I had earlier and just went over that. It still looked a little bit flat, so I took the gold marker and I'm kind of just highlighting the dots on the sunflower, and then I took the fine point marker and just gave a stroke right in the middle of those sunflowers, and that kind of made it popped just a little bit. The gold, I wasn't able to see the gold, so I took the same marker and just highlighted those. Now to distress a little, I took the Waverly antique wax and the dry chippy brush, kind of squeeze the bristles together so that they're not so widely spread, and went around the edge of the board. Then when all of that was dry, now I took the Mod Podge and just seal that. Now it's time for my bow. Now I could not decide. I got these ribbons from Amazon last year. I will link that in my storefront or link that below the video if you are interested. It was really a good deal. I was very happy when I got this. So I selected that one and I'm now going to make my bow. These ribbons are very thick, guys, so making a bow with these was very challenging. So I initially cut 3 pieces because I wanted to spread the bow, but it was difficult to scrunch them in the middle, so I had to change course and only used 1 piece and then use another piece as the tail. Put them together and tied that with a piece of jute cord, then cut another little piece, folded in the sides, and I used that piece to cover the jute in the middle. I just love the combination of the colors on this checkered ribbon. Very beautiful. This is a piece of boxwood pick. I got this from Walmart. This was in my stash. I cut 2 pieces long enough and use a piece of jute cord to just connect them in the middle. That's gonna be the swag. And to get that on the board, I know that it needed more than just hot glue, so I took my heavy duty stapler and stapled on a zip tie and then used that to connect the bow. And then cut that off and use the end of the staple to hold it in place. And after I was done and looked at it, I said, still needed something else. This sunflower, I picked this from a pick. I had this in my stash, so I just removed the stem, removed the little piece that connected the flower, and glued it in the middle. And to replace the hanger, I strung the same cord with some beads, yellow, black, and white. Strung it from the front to the back, then drew the string tight, glued it down, and this one is complete. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. See more of this in the final reveal. A big thank you to my subscribers. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. We are on our way to the 3,000 mark. Help me get there by April 30 in time for a giveaway. So if you love my content and you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, share the video with your friends, family, and everyone you know, and help me get to that goal by April 30. Now we're jumping into DIY number 2. This is a piece of scrap wood. Guys, I must say to you, whenever you're out and about, go to your local hardware store, pick up your scrap wood. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's just like a few dollars, but you cannot go wrong with having a piece of scrap wood to do your DIY projects. Now for this one, it was already painted, but I still gave it another coat of white paint. And I took this calendar sheet from one of Dollar Tree's calendar. I think this is probably last year or this year's calendar. I don't remember exactly. So I'm using the section that says "or happy place," and I trimmed off the sections that I did not need, and I'm just laying it down on the board, making sure that I have both sides even by using the ruler to just measure the sides. And then I'm using some Mod Podge to put that down. You can use school glue, you can use tacky glue. No hot glue right here, because the hot glue, when it dries, it's gonna be bumpy. So I put the Mod Podge down, and I'm also using some heat along with my parchment paper to help with the adhering and to keep that in place. And this is quick and easy. Not a lot to do with this at all. As you can see, it's very easy. After I glued that down, I took the Mod Podge again and just secured the top of the paper to the top of the board. Just using the Mod Podge and the sponge and the heat press. Now I use the heat press without the parchment paper, and this just happened by chance because and when I realized that, oh, you need the parchment paper, I grabbed it and put it on. But it really didn't make a difference because I realized that this is not napkin where you need some protection between your heat and the napkin. The paper and the heat press worked fine. So after I did that, I took the emery board and just filed off the excess. And this burlap ribbon, I got this from my friend, and the edges are frayed. That was perfect. So I'm going to be using that for the sides. I just lay it down on the board and see how much I needed to use, or how far out I needed to go. And then I took the tacky glue, and I'm using the tacky glue here and not the Mod Podge, because the tacky glue would have given me more adhesion. Now guys, I'm using heat here for the purpose of the video. You definitely can leave this to dry naturally, or you can use your heat. If you have a heat gun or a heat press, you can definitely use that. But I'm just using this for the purpose of the video. If you don't have either of these, by all means, you can leave it to dry naturally. And for the sides, I chose to wrap the burlap over the side rather than cutting it off right at the immediate edge, because I wanted it to give it a finished look. And then after that, I took the lighter and just burned or frayed the edge of the burlap, because you know this is burlap, and because it's already fraying, I didn't want it to fray any further. So I sealed it with the lighter. And then I flipped it over, tied a piece of jute, and that's going to be for the hanger. And then took a piece of brown paper and covered that to give this a finished look. And then to further seal in the edge of the burlap, I went again with some more of the Mod Podge. For further embellishment, I got these beads from Temu, and I just took a few of them. So I just peeled off the backing and placed them down on the board. And that's it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about that. Now we're on to DIY number 3. I got this from Woodpecker's Craft and I used it for my New Year's Day video, but of course it can be used again. So I just cleaned off whatever I had on the other side, and now I'm going to be using the reverse side. So I painted it with 2 coats of the white paint, and I'm using another stencil from that pack I got from Temu, and this one says Home Sweet Home. Like you saw, I put the stencil down and I'm using the Mod Podge again just to go over that to prevent any bleeding. And I'll be using some of the same yellow paint I used for the earlier DIY, and I'm just dabbing that on. And this is the honeycomb. And then for the black part, I'm using the same black paint, dabbing that on. Remember, you don't need a lot, you just need a small amount. And the Mod Podge over the stencil helps to prevent the bleeding. Because I wanted the word home at the top to look like honey, I took a little coffee latte and poured that on the yellow paint that was there and a little of the daffodil yellow, and I blended that in together until I was satisfied with the shade that I got. It was still looking a little too pale, so I took a dab of orange and added that, and then that gave me the shade that I wanted, and then that is what I used to dab onto the section. The word has something dripping down off the tip of the letters that looks like honey. So getting that shade for this part was ideally what I wanted. So I dabbed that on and then dried it. Now the bee that was on the stencil, I decided not to use it because spaces were too open and I didn't want to use that. So I took this bee from a stencil I got last year as well. I got this from Amazon. I think I got it in a set of 5 different bees with 5 different words and different stencil images on there. And this is what it looks like when I was all done. And that is what I was saying about how the stencil of the word home was. It looked like honey was dripping, and that is why I chose to give it a different color. Now after that, I took the dabber and the black paint, and I'm just distressing the edge of this sign. And when that dried, I went over it with some Mod Podge. Now I couldn't decide whether I wanted to stop here or whether I wanted to add a bow. So I decided that it would look a little better with a bow. You let me know whether or not I should have stopped here or the bow looks perfect on there. So I made a bow using a piece of this ribbon, and this one has beads on it, and I chose to use this one. I made the bow just like I did for the DIY number 1 and glued that in the middle. And then for the hanger, I took some beads, some natural beads, as well as some glossy beads that I had from Walmart. Glued that at the back. And then took the dovetail ends from the ribbon, glued those over the ends of the jute. Tack it down with some hot glue. And then here I'm trying to decide whether I should add some boxwood greenery, but I decided against it. I then placed it down on a piece of brown paper, traced that out, and covered the back and called this one done. Now we are here for the final reveal. Here is our scrap wood sign, and here is our first wood round and our second wood round. The Hello Sunshine is my favorite. The home sweet home, I think I may take the bow off because it's hiding the word. But that's just me. Guys, let me know which one was your favorite. And thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you have not yet done so. And to follow me on social media, you can find my Linktree address in my description box below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to watch more, I suggest this video right here or this playlist. And I will have another video on Friday, so be sure to check that one out as well. And it's also bee and sunflowers. So until my next one, stay safe, my friends, and I'll catch you then. Bye.